Hello referees, this is Brent Wilson, State Director of Instruction for the Nebraska Referee Development Program. Welcome to this video discussing the 2016 law changes which will be implemented in Nebraska in fall 2016. The purpose of the change to the laws of the game was to increase the universality of the laws by making them easily understood so football throughout the world benefits from consistent interpretation and application. The law book has changed in many ways. First, it has a simpler structure. The laws and the interpretations have been merged so that there are no longer two separate parts to the laws. Second, some of the laws have been renamed. They've been renamed both for organizational purposes as well as to better represent the content that they contain. The language of the laws has been simplified. There are many fewer words in the law book than there were previously. And finally, the content has been substantially updated to better represent the modern game. U.S. Soccer no longer publishes law books for distribution to all referees. Instead, they expect you to BYOB, that is, bring your own law book. There are many online and downloadable resources where you can get the laws as well as discussions about the laws. The best resource that I've found is at theifab.com. In addition, you can also find plenty of referee resources at ussoccer.com under the referee section. This presentation is not an exhaustive review of all of the changes to the laws of the game. Instead, I'm only going to focus on the highlights. Please review the law book for further details both about the information that I cover in this presentation as well as information that I have chosen not to cover. Let's begin with a quick look at Law 1, the field of play. There are two changes to Law 1 that we'll discuss. The first is that field surfaces must be entirely artificial or entirely natural. That is, there cannot be a combination of natural grass and artificial turf on the same field. Now I know what many of you are thinking. There are fields out there in Nebraska that use a combination of turf surfaces. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do about that, but the issue has been raised with the Nebraska State Soccer Association. Until we have a solution, please simply document the issue in your game report. Do not refuse to play on those fields unless there is an obvious safety issue. The second change is that corner flags may now feature club or competition logos. This isn't a major change, and in fact many of you have worked on fields where this was already the case, but it's now officially permissible according to the laws of the game. Next, let's talk about some changes to Law 3, the players. First, we'll start by talking about some things that can happen prior to kickoff. If a player is sent off prior to kickoff, a couple different things might happen. If the send-off happened before the roster was submitted, that player cannot appear anywhere on the roster, whether as a player or a substitute. If the roster has already been submitted, that player can be replaced by a substitute named on that roster. However, no new names can be added to the roster at that time. A match may neither start nor continue if a team has fewer than 7 players. If a team falls below 7 players because of some temporary reason, for example, a minor injury or a minor equipment issue, then the game should be held up until that player is able to return to the field. If a team is not able to field 7 players, then the match must be suspended or abandoned as appropriate. Next up, substitutes may take a restart, but they must step onto the field first. This has been common practice for many, many years, but it was not something that was written into the laws very clearly. Law 3 has updated some definitions. A team official is somebody who is named on a roster other than a player or a substitute, for example, a coach. If a team official interferes with play, the result is a direct free kick or penalty kick. An outside agent, on the other hand, is anybody else not named on the roster. If an outside agent interferes with play, the result is a dropped ball. If something or someone, that is, not a player on the field legally, touches a ball going into the goal may be awarded if the touch had no impact on the outcome. If the touch did have an impact on the outcome, then you restart according to the instructions from the previous slide. Law 4 has received some minor changes as well. First, tape or any other material on socks must be the same color as the part of the sock that it covers. Here are two images showing coverings of socks that are not permitted. On the left, you see a white sock covering up the main orange sock, which is not permitted. And on the right, you see tape around the ankle that is colored white over top of a red sock. Again, this is not permitted. Law 4 has also been updated to clarify that a player losing a shoe or shin guard may continue playing until the next stoppage, even without that piece of equipment. If that player can quickly fix the shoe or shin guard, then the referee should hold up play at the next stoppage. If the problem cannot be remedied relatively quickly, then the player may need to step off the field to get it taken care of. Law 4 now clarifies that no electronic communication with players or substitutes is permitted during a match. And a player fixing equipment off the field may return after being checked by the referee, an assistant referee, or the fourth official. That player may return during play when the referee beckons. Next, let's talk about Law 5, the referee. The following language has been added to Law 5. Decisions will be made to the best of the referee's ability according to the laws of the game and the spirit of the game, and will be based on the opinion of the referee, who has the discretion to take appropriate action within the framework of the laws of the game. A referee cannot change a decision after the following circumstances: after play has been restarted, after leaving the field of play, whether for halftime or after the game, or after terminating the match. A referee may change a decision as long as one of those things has not happened. Law 5 has always talked about the referee's ability to punish the more serious of simultaneous offenses. However, it didn't define what serious meant. In general, a referee should use the following guidelines. A red card is more serious than a yellow card. A direct free kick is more serious than an indirect free kick. A physical offense, for example tripping, is more serious than a non-physical offense, for example handling. And a referee should also consider the tactical impact of whatever fouls happened simultaneously. A player injured by misconduct, that is a foul that resulted in a yellow or red card, may be quickly treated and stay on the field. However, if the treatment requires a long time, then that player will still need to leave the field as before. In addition, Law 5 has been updated to say that referees are prohibited from wearing jewelry. That means rings, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, nose rings, all of that stuff. Please make sure that you do not wear jewelry on the field. In addition, we now have two separate possibilities for how to signal advantage. There's the traditional two-arm signal, as shown on the left, or you can use a one-arm signal, as shown on the right. The one-arm signal was added primarily to make it easier for referees to signal while they are running. Next up is Law 6. Law 6 has received a number of changes, but I'm only going to very briefly discuss them. For one thing, Law 6 has been renamed to the Other Match Officials. There's much more detail now in Law 6 about assistant referee responsibilities, fourth official responsibilities, as well as some of the other types of officials that we do not use, such as alternate assistant referees. I strongly encourage you to look up the laws of the game and look into Law 6 to see some of the information that has been added and changed. The vast majority of the information is not really different from what we've been using, but it is written in much more detail than it's ever been presented in the laws before. Law 7 covers the duration of the match. The changes here are pretty simple. The law has added 2 reasons for adding time at the end of a half. One is time lost due to dealing with injured players. And the second is time lost due to water breaks or other medical stoppages required by the competition rules. Law 8 covers the start and restart of play. Law 8 has changed in some pretty significant ways. For one thing, all restarts are included now. Previously, just kickoff and dropped ball were included in Law 8, whereas the other restarts were scattered around various other laws. The ball must clearly move on all kicked restarts. That includes kickoffs, the free kicks, goal kicks, corner kicks, penalty kicks, and so on. Next, the referee may not manufacture the outcome of dropped ball. That is, the referee cannot prevent an opposing team from participating in a drop ball, and the referee cannot prevent players from either team of participating. If one player wants to participate, that's fine. If 10 players want to participate, that's fine as well. The referee cannot dictate who participates. A dropped ball must touch at least 2 players before entering the goal. Otherwise, the restart will be a goal kick or corner kick according to who last touched it. On a kickoff, the ball may now be kicked in any direction, including backwards. As part of this, we need to make sure that all players are in their own half of the field. Now granted, if a player is going to kick the ball backwards, technically they're going to be a little bit in the opponent's half of the field. But let's not get too picky here. The purpose of this addition to the law is to prevent the situation where the kicker plays the ball forward to a teammate who is clearly on the opposite side of the field. That's what the laws are trying to prevent. Changes to Law 10, determining the outcome of the match, mostly have to do with kicks from the penalty mark. Some of these are actual changes, and some are simply clarifications of the old laws. There are now 2 coin tosses prior to taking kicks from the penalty mark. The first coin toss is used to determine which goal the kicks will be taken from. For example, heads may be the north goal and tails may be the south goal. This coin toss happens unless there are obvious safety or field condition issues on one end of the field. The second coin toss is the same as the coin toss that we used to do under the old laws. That is, it determines who kicks first and who kicks second. During the taking of kicks from the penalty mark, the goalkeeper may be replaced at any time as long as the team has sufficient substitutes remaining on its roster, according to the rules of competition. If there are unlimited substitutes in your match, then the goalkeeper may be replaced an unlimited number of times. If there are limited substitutions, then the roster requirement applies. Any players temporarily off the field, for example, fixing a minor injury or fixing a minor equipment issue, may take part in the kicks from the penalty mark. Both teams must have the same number of kickers all throughout kicks. This is the reduce to equate principle that we've long used. However, the clarification here is that we not only reduce to equate at the start of kicks, we also do it at any point during kicks. So for example, if both teams have 11 players at the start of kicks, and one player somehow gets injured during taking of the kicks, then both teams would reduce to 10 kickers. The referee does not need to know kickers in advance. and the referee does not need to know the order of the kickers in advance. They may approach in any order. Law 10 also helpfully finally clarifies exactly when a kick is completed. A kick from the penalty mark is completed when it has crossed a boundary line, stopped moving, is held by the goalkeeper, or the referee stops play for some infringement of the laws. Next up is Law 11, Offside. And don't worry, the changes here are much more minor compared to the changes that we made a couple years ago. First, for the purposes of determining offside position, the halfway line is now considered neutral. That is, in order for a player to be in an offside position, they must be on their opponent's half of the field, or beyond the halfway line. The laws also clarify that gaining an advantage now includes interfering with an opponent. Previously, gaining an advantage only included interfering with play, that is, touching the ball. The restart location has changed for Law 11, and this is great news for referees and assistant referees alike. The restart now occurs where the offense occurred. That may be in either half of the field. So as a reminder, we have three parts when we're thinking about offside. We have timing, that is, whenever a teammate of a player touches the ball. We have position, that is where they are on the field. They must be on their opponent's half of the field, ahead of the ball, and ahead of the second to last defender. And then we have involvement. It's the moment that a player in an offside position becomes involved that the assistant referee raises the flag, and it is that location that is used for the restart. Next, let's talk about the changes to Law 12, fouls and misconduct. A big change to the laws is that it has clarified that a foul with contact is always a direct free kick offense or penalty kick. For example, impeding without contact is an indirect free kick. Impeding with contact is a direct free kick or penalty kick. In addition, an offense committed on the field against a teammate, substitute, team official, or match official now results in a direct free kick or penalty kick. An offense committed against an outside agent still results in a dropped ball. An offense committed against an opponent off the field has a different restart depending on how and why it happened. If the offense is part of the normal flow of play, then the result is a direct free kick from the boundary line or a penalty kick if appropriate. If a player leaves the field specifically to commit the offense, then the restart is an indirect free kick from wherever the ball was at the time that the referee stopped play. There have been some significant changes to denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, or DOGSO. First, if a DOGSO offense happens outside the penalty area, the result is a red card. That has not changed. What has changed is if the foul happens inside the penalty area. If the foul is holding, pushing, or pulling, the result is a red card. If the defender makes no attempt or has no opportunity to play the ball, the result is a red card. For all other fouls, even if it meets the criteria for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, the result is a yellow card. The reasoning being that the yellow card plus the penalty kick is enough of a punishment. Let's watch some videos to illustrate these points.
Good eye for goals we saw against China. It's a mistake! Well, she just think she's given a penalty. Didn't make it absolutely clear. Julie Johnston there with a slight took back, only slight on Alexandra Pop, but it is a penalty for the United States.
In this case, the foul was pulling, It met the criteria for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and therefore the result is a red card.
Buena pelota filtrada y ahora sí el 20 en posición de ataque, penal. Penal. ¿Qué hacía el 20, me pregunto ya defendiendo?
Bueno, esta vez Cheul Choi lo mandó adelante. Lo agarra claramente. Lemón, qué momento para Bélgica con un hombre menos.
Here again, the defender pulled the attacker, and the defender had no opportunity to play the ball and did not attempt to play the ball in any way. Therefore, the result is a red card and a penalty kick for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. This situation is a little bit different. The defender is making at least a basic attempt to play the ball. Therefore, the foul is tripping, and since tripping is not one of our exceptions, the result is a yellow card and a penalty kick. This situation is even more clear. The defender is clearly trying to play the ball, but misses and ends up tripping the defender. Because tripping now results in a yellow card for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, the referee should show the defender the yellow card and award a penalty kick to the attacking team. Here's another example. The goalkeeper attempted to play the ball, but missed, ended up tripping the player. This is a yellow card and a penalty kick.
عدم إعطاء المساحة للجيش من أجل الوصول للثاني وكرة خطيرة. شوف مرور من رومارينيو وإعاقة من جمال خالد. مر رومارينيو وأجبر جمال خالد على إعاقته وضربة جزاء للجيش.
Here again, the goalkeeper ends up tripping the player, but the goalkeeper was attempting to play the ball. Now it's tempting to look at this video in slow motion and say that the goalkeeper had no possibility of playing the ball, and so you might think that this should be a red card. However, remember that in real time, this incident happened extremely quickly. The goalkeeper was trying to go for the ball, and therefore the result should be a yellow card and a penalty kick. Here we're showing that nothing has changed with regard to handling. Handling to deny an obvious goal-scoring opportunity is still a red card offense. So here we would have a red card for the defender, and we would restart with a penalty kick. Law 14, the penalty kick, has received some minor updates. First, to be consistent with kicks from the penalty mark, Law 14 has been updated to say that a penalty kick is completed when the ball stops moving, the ball crosses a boundary line, or the referee stops play for an infringement of the laws. These infractions always result in an indirect free kick for the defense, regardless of the outcome of the penalty kick. If the ball is kicked backwards, if someone other than the identified kicker takes the kick, in which case the actual kicker is cautioned, or if the kicker feints after completing the run-up, and again the kicker is cautioned. I want to remind you, it is legal for a kicker to feint during the run-up. It is after the kicker has planted that plant foot that they can no longer make a fake or feint. A goalkeeper who infringes Law 14, for example by coming off the line too early, is cautioned if the ball does not enter the goal and the kick must be retaken. If the ball enters the goal and the kick does not need to be retaken, then the goalkeeper does not need to be cautioned for the act. There are a couple minor changes to Law 15, the throw-in. As we know, an opponent must not distract or impede the thrower. That includes moving within 2 yards during the taking of the throw-in. If that happens, the opponent must be cautioned. The restart depends on when the infraction occurred. If the throw-in has already been taken, then we restart with an indirect free kick at the point of the infraction. If the throw-in was not completed for some reason, then we go ahead and restart with the throw-in. The changes to Law 16, the goal kick, are clarifications to help deal with a couple fuzzy situations. First, if the ball is kicked into a team's own goal, one of 2 things will happen. If the ball had left the penalty area and then came back into their goal without anybody touching it, the result is a corner kick for the opponent. If the ball did not leave the penalty area and then entered their goal, the result is a goal kick. An opponent in the penalty area may not touch or challenge for the ball until it is touched by another player. If an attacker violates that rule, then the goal kick is retaken. And finally, we have Law 17, the corner kick. Change here involves one of the least likely situations in all of soccer, but it was a gap in the previous laws. If somehow a team manages to kick a corner kick directly into their own goal, the restart is a corner kick for the opponents. And that's all we've got. Thank you for joining me for this presentation on the law changes for 2016. Once again, my name is Brent Wilson. I am the State Director of Instruction for Nebraska Referee Development Program. You can be in contact with NRDP via Twitter at Nebref, Facebook at facebook.com/Nebref, or you can reach me at bwilson@nebref.org. Have a great day.